Hi everyone, it's tutorialsbya here, and today I'll be showing you how to create this super duper cool taffy braid bracelet. Now this bracelet is called the Taffy Braid bracelet because after we take this off of the loom before we add the extension on, we're going to be doing a whole lot of stretching to this bracelet so that way we can get it to kind of curl up and make this braid part in the center. Now when you first take it off of your loom, it will look extremely similar to the 3-pin 2-segment dragon scale. The dragon scale is created by Cheryl Mayberry, but this is not the same thing because of the way the bands are folded in the hooking process. It creates this really cool, quite different look than the dragon scale bracelet. So anyways, before we get started, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up, and now without further ado, let's get started. So today you will need any type of loom, a hook. I'll be using a rainbow loom metal tip hook today. You'll also need one C-clip. Today, since we will be having a little bit more bands on our pins today, I will be using the rainbowloom.com, like their new Swedes collection or Pearl collection or Persian collection C-clips or medieval. I have review videos on all of those, by the way, but they come with these larger C-clips that can fit more bands, so I'll be using one of these today, but a regular C-clip works just as fine. And yeah, I used regular C-clips on this bracelet, and as you can see, the bands still all fit, but I'm gonna go ahead and use a large one today. And then you will also need about 77 bands. I'll be using white as well as the new Rainbow Loom brand pastel bands, and they come in a mixed pack. I got mine from rainbowloom.com. It is linked down in the description box below in case you're interested in checking that out. These bands are also available in select stores, but I just got mine online since you don't have to worry about searching everywhere to find them. So anyways, now without further ado, let's get started. So to start this bracelet, we're going to start with our loom's arrows pointing down, and don't mind my 3rd pin bar right here that has the arrow on it. I took all my looms apart for a project and just jumbled them back together when I put them together, so it just happened that I put a pin bar with an arrow on here when I was supposed to. But anyways, this bracelet is super duper easy. We're going to start with our loom's arrows pointing down, and we're going to put bands at the top of our loom. We're going to use double bands for this, so 2 bands at a time. I did try this design using single bands and I did not like how it came out, so I highly recommend using double bands when you start out with this bracelet. So we're basically gonna create a single chain bracelet. So you're gonna continue a zigzag pattern down till the end of your loom using all double bands for each of your links. So you're gonna continue with this zigzag pattern. And the layout is exactly like a single chain bracelet, it's just that the hooking process is a little bit different. So yeah. So I'm just going to continue on with my double bands down to the end of my loom. And I'm not going to go super slow on this just because the instructions are pretty easy and the steps are pretty easy to do. Goodness, trying to decide what color I'm supposed to use next. I got it now. So continue going down here to the bottom of your loom. Okie dokie. So I am now here at the very bottom of my loom, and basically this is what my loom looks like. I just use 2 bands at a time for each link, and so basically this is what my loom looks like. So when you're finished, we're going to add a cap band onto this very bottom pin right here. You're just going to take a single band, it doesn't matter what color, then you're going to wrap it around this pin twice. So let's try that again, once and twice, so that you get something like this. And now we are ready to start the hooking process. So the hooking process is actually very, very easy. You're gonna take your hook, we're gonna go inside of the cap band, and grab these two bottom layers here. But instead of normally hooking it over diagonally, we're gonna hook this forward, just like that. So basically all we're gonna do is gonna hook forward. So now we're gonna go into this pin, go inside of the top two layers, and then grab the bottom two, pull those off of the pin, and instead of hooking those diagonally, we're gonna hook those forward. So again, go inside these layers up here. We're gonna go inside the top four, so that way we can grab the bottom two bands and hook those forward, just like that. So you're just gonna continue going inside, grabbing the bottom two bands and hooking forward. So that's how easy this bracelet is. So you're always gonna go inside the top four layers, grab the bottom two layers, and then pull that forward. So go inside, grab the bottom two, and hook forward. And it doesn't matter the order in which you hook the bands on the left and right panels, as long as you hook from bottom up. You can always just hook the left side all the way up first and then the right side all the way up. It doesn't matter, but I find it easiest just to go ahead and alternate here. So you're just gonna go inside and grab the bottom two and hook that forward. Inside, bottom two, hook forward. Bottom two here, hook forward. And continue this same process till the end of your loom. Oh goodness, not diagonally. There we go. So I'm nearing the end of my loom. Again, still grabbing just the bottom two layers, hook forward. Go inside the top four and then grab the bottom two and hook forward. Now once you get to this point, you want to stop here for a second. As you can see, we have not hooked these two bands right here. So these top two bands here at the top have not been hooked. What you're going to do is you're going to go inside the top four layers on this pin and grab those bottom two layers. And since we obviously can't hook them vertically, we're gonna hook those diagonally, just like that. So that way we've closed it off and our loose ends are only on one pin rather than on two without hooking this band here. So now what we're gonna do is just make sure that your loom looks like this, or similar to this if you're using different colors. Basically your bands should look like this. Then after that, you're gonna take your hook and stick it inside of all of the bands on this pin. Make sure you're grabbing all of them, otherwise your bracelet will fall apart. And just hold on to those very carefully and pull everything off of your loom. Normally I would fast forward this, but you know, it doesn't take too long to take this off of your loom. So, when you first take it off, your bracelet will look kind of like a 2-pin 3-segment dragon scale. If you made that, I have a tutorial for that on my channel, but the original dragon scale pattern was created by Cheryl Mayberry, and basically the zigzag braided pattern will appear on this side. Now, because of the way the bands were folded during the hooking process, that's how we get this braided look. If you fold them a different way, that's how you get the 2-pin 3-segment dragon scale. So what you've got to do here is you've got to really stretch your bracelet out until your bracelet kind of starts to curl a little bit. And it should start to curl and braid up on the opposite side. So you just gotta keep pulling and stretching. And as you can see, the braid is starting to appear on this side. So keep pulling and stretching. Just like that. As you can see, it's starting to form. Here at the bottom you can see it starting to form, but I'm just going to keep pulling and stretching. And then you can grab the inner bands. And it's a specific side where the braid forms. You can't form it on both sides, I don't think. So you've got to be kind of careful to see which side you're pushing it to form into. And it gets easier to form after you've finished with the entire bracelet and added the extension and everything. But for now, if you want to see kind of how it'll look, so you kind of have to keep pulling on it a little bit. But that's how you get the braided look to form. As you can see my braid here starting to form. It's still not as protruding as much as this one, I think. It's not as prominent yet, but it's getting there. As you can see, it's starting to curl up at the back, which is how we get that really cool effect. So now let's go ahead and add on the extension. So to make the extension, I personally need 13 links of bands. That does vary upon wrist size, but here's an idea of what my wrist is compared to my loom. I do have quite small wrists though. So for the extension, I like using double bands so that way I can keep the consistency of the thickness of the bracelet. So I'm going to use double bands. You can use whatever colors you'd like. I'm just going to stick to plain old white, and I'm going to create 13 links, starting with my loom's arrows pointing down at the top of my loom. So double bands, and I'm just going to make the same zigzag thing, except for the hooking process. I'm going to hook it as a single chain bracelet, so that way I don't get another one of these one of the bracelets that we just made. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and you can use any type of extension you'd like. You can do a fishtail extension, you can do a different bracelet if you'd like. You can connect 2 looms to get a really long bracelet, so that way you don't have to make an extension, but I'm just going to show you the basic one today. So after that, here is my bracelet. I'm going to go ahead and transfer all of these bands that are on my hook onto this very bottom pin right here. So I'm just going to carefully slide these all on, just like that. So as you can see, they're all on this pin. Now I'm going to take my hook and I'm going to go inside all of the bands except for the bottom 2, grab the bottom 2, and then hook those diagonally. And now we're going to hook diagonally like you normally would in a single chain bracelet, rather than how we were for the taffy braid bracelet. And I'm going a little bit faster on this part just because the hooking process isn't anything hard or special or anything. So when you're finished, you're going to go ahead and grab your C-clip and slide it onto all the bands that are on this last pin here. And then once you've made sure that they're all securely on, you can then remove the bands from this pin and take off everything else from your loom, so that you get something like this. You can stretch out this chain a little bit so that way it's not as crazy. And then I'm just going to attach both of my ends together, and here's the cap band that we put on at the beginning. So I'm just going to slide that onto my C-clip, if I can get that on. Try that again, and grab the other end here, slide that onto my C-clip as well. And then after that, I'm just going to give my bracelet a few more tugs. After tugging on it for quite a bit, you can start to see which side the braid is going to be forming on, because sometimes it can get confusing. But on the opposite side, you should have 2 double singles running down the back. So that should help you a little bit with helping you form your bracelet. And now you know how the name Taffy for the name of the bracelet originated, because you do have to stretch it quite a bit, and it's kind of like taffy. So anyways, now we are completely finished with our taffy braid bracelet. So anyways, that is how you make this super duper cool taffy braid bracelet. I really hope you like this bracelet. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up if you did. I especially love how the Rainbow Loom mixed pastel bands came out with this bracelet look. I think it just looks amazing. So yeah, don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below if you haven't already, and find me on all my social media sites in the description box down below. I am especially active on my Instagram and Twitter accounts, so be sure to find me on there, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!